So, you're looking to buy a house in France, or you might have already found that dream house. Either way, you'll need to think about one thing, which is the sanitation to the property, as in does it have a septic tank or mains drainage. So here's a quick video giving you the pros and cons of both systems. Okay? I'm Dan Newton and this is French Property Talk. So, you found the property you're looking for, and one thing you have to take into account is the actual drainage for the property. Does it have mains drainage? Is it a septic tank? Does it have no drainage? What are the possibilities and what are the pros and cons of both those systems? So if you're actually in a urbanised area, as in a village, a town, on the outskirts of a village, and in one or two rare cases where you can have mains drainage, that is no doubt the best option to go for. In fact, to be honest, under French law, if you are connectable to mains drainage, you are obliged to do so. The connection charge for mains drainage is usually somewhere between €3,000 to €5,000 if it's not already done. If they're just bringing in mains drainage into the actual village or town or wherever you are, that price is reduced quite a bit. I've seen cases where it's been €500–600 where they're putting the mains drainage into the village. But obviously, as time goes on, mains drainage, or certainly new installations, is getting less and less frequent. It's more of a case of an existing one already there. Tax-wise, when you pay your house tax, annual house tax, there will be part of that tax goes to the running of the actual mains drainage, and that's roughly about €800 per year. But that's actually hidden inside the tax foncière, so don't worry about that. If you're actually in the process of buying a house, at the present time there is no actual obligation for the actual mains drainage or the connection to be tested for the sale. Saying that, more and more communes are making it obligatory in their communes, and there is a law has just gone through that apparently mains drainage connection test will be obligatory for sales as of the 1st of January 2023. If, on the other hand, you are more of a rural countryside type person, want to live away from the towns and villages, then there's a very slim chance that you can have mains drainage. So what option is open to you? Well, you need what the French call a système autonome d'assainissement, generally referred to as a septic tank, although this can come in under many forms. Basically, you have the the Fosse or standard septic tank, let's say. Then you actually have the microstation, which is a micro sewage works, but scaled right down as such. And the third option being bio system with like reed bed filters, etc. But now, we're not here to actually talk about the different systems as such. We're just here to talk about how it affects your house and your living. If you live in a rural area, the people controlling the sanitation are called the SPANC, SPANC, which is a Service Public d'Assainissement Non-Collectif. If you're buying a property over here which does actually have some sort of septic tank system in there, whether it be a cesspit, animal tank, or an old septic tank, this will actually have to be tested by the SPANC before the actual sale goes through. It's part of the vendor's job to get it done. But anyhow, that will be part of your act when you buy it. Knowing that the SPANC will actually refuse the certification of a tank for very small reasons sometimes. So, as I often say in these videos, don't panic. When they say you need to do work on the tank, it could be as little as just replacing a ventilation pipe or something like that. Admittedly, it could also be doing the full tank, but make sure you actually read the report or get someone to explain the report to you so you know where you're going. Basically, if you go for a standard tank installation for, let's say, a 3-bedroom house, you're talking probably around the €10,000 mark. All depends on your soil, land lie, etc, etc. Can be a bit less sometimes, can be quite a bit more on other times, but on average it's about €10,000. If you want to go for a microstation, that's usually a bit cheaper, but you do actually have the ongoing running costs because it has to be permanently connected to electricity. Then after that, well, the bio systems with reed beds, to be honest, I'm not too sure what the prices are. If we go on most things, they're probably more expensive than the standard setup. After that, one thing you need to know is that even if you pay for your septic tank to be put in, you will need it tested every 4 to 5 years. There's slight variations on the actual dates depending on the different regions you're in, but on average it's about every 4 years. and that costs about €150. You'll also be paying about €90 a year to your local mairie for their as a tax for the septic tank as well. If, on the other hand, you're actually selling a house in France and you're on a septic tank, you will need to have that tested with a valid control at the time of signing. Although the actual standard controls every 4 to 5 years, the actual one for sale, for some reason, probably French democracy, needs to be less than 3 years old. So you need to check that out. Make sure it will be valid for the time of signing. One thing you need to know is actually if you have the standard control, as in it's coming to the actual 4 to 5 year period, that is about €120 for the control. And if you actually need the control doing for a sale, as in out of the normal period, then they charge double. So be careful of that one. When you've actually seen your SPANC control and gone through, and let's say it turns out to be a problem with the tank, obviously we need to clarify what that problem is. If you're still in negotiations for the properties or going through the compromise process, then you can renegotiate the actual price based on that report. For example, if you need a full-blown tank, you might want to try negotiating €10,000 off the price. You might have already taken that into account when it comes to negotiation. If it's just, for example, an extra air vent, which is probably, I don't know, €20 in materials and a couple of hours labouring, you might not want to worry about negotiating. Obviously that's down to you, but you do actually have the right to. One thing you must take into account is actually if you do have a problem with a septic tank when you purchase a property, once you actually sign the final act, you have 1 year to actually get that problem solved and retested by the SPANC, whether that be a full-blown tank or just like I said, an air vent or whatever. The fine you risk is, well, it depends on the regions, but anywhere between €150 and €200. The cost of a tank is €10,000. I'll let you do the sums and how you feel about polluting the local soil or not. So there you go, quick roundup of the septic tank situation, let's say. Septic tank versus mains drainage when you're actually buying a house. If you like these videos, don't forget to click the thumbs up down the bottom there and subscribe if you want to hear more videos discussing all different factors about buying or selling a property here in France. Bye then.